James had a great catch or two over at A&M. Had one touchdown, a big catch that really, really helped us. And Garrett Gilbert told me at Big 12 Media Day that he thought James had come as far or further this summer than anybody he has been around. So he was really excited about him being a leader and a guy that's talking more and stepping up. And sometimes you see that. When you've got a Quan and a Jordan, the other guys kind of stay back and they will not step out and lead because they're a little afraid to step on the toes of the older guys. And since we've got John Childs and James are really the only two senior receivers, those two need to step up, and neither one have been vocal leaders. And Garrett was really excited about both of those guys. He thought those two guys showed more improvement than anybody. So hopefully we'll see that when we go back to work in the morning. Marquise was not out there this summer because he was running track, so they do not count him in that group. And your four receivers that would be out there first would be John, James, Marquise, and Malcolm Williams. So those would be like your group that you would look at the first bunch out.
On that topic, how much do you expect like a Darius White or Mike Davis to play?
It's part of the fun of two-a-days. We have no clue. We know what they did in high school against 17, 16, 15, and 14-year-olds. We do not know how they'll respond. And that's one of the things I think the split practices really help you. It takes some pressure off of them for the first 2 or 3 days because they're working with guys their age. And they're not intimidated. It's not too fast. And we'll know more about that. We'll have some idea the first 3 days, but by the time you all get there and they're in pads the second day and then total pads the third day, we'll start having an idea of who can play. The biggest thing, the biggest difference in receivers being able to play in college than high school, they have to get off man-to-man coverage. And they're bigger, stronger guys. Very few guys can cover those big, strong high school receivers man-to-man. And the second thing is they have to learn to block against an older, big, strong corner. So those are the two things. And you really, you don't have a great feel of that until you get them in pads.
Is there any extra emphasis on this freshman class stepping up in years past?
I don't think so. Every year you come in, and our job is to try to find guys that can play to win. And you always have some feelings hurt with the freshmen because some are more ready to play than others. Some are a little more mature. Some are in better shape. Some are more attentive. And then you have to be careful because sometimes in our past, a freshman will beat a varsity guy out. And then 3 weeks into two-a-days, he wants to quit because he's homesick and he's tired and he's hit the wall. And all of a sudden, he went from being a starter to calling mama and begging to go home. So you've got to be really, really careful that you watch him and monitor him on a day-to-day basis and make sure he can handle just the pressure and the day-to-day beatdown of the heat and two-a-day practices. And that's another reason we started not having our depth chart, and you have to earn it every time you walk out there. And in some cases, and Dwayne Aquina started us doing this, in some cases we will take a starter and put him in a second team and put a second teamer up with the varsity or the first teamers just to see how he responds one night. And that's why we've told them we have no depth chart. We're trying to find guys that can play, and we want to get at least 22 on each side of the ball that can play. And then you have to do a great job with your kicking game. And we go through and have a list of all kicking game players and how many of them are starters on 4 teams or 3 teams or 2 teams or 1 team, because in this heat, again, an opening ball game, if a guy's starting and he's on 4 special teams, you can lose him by halftime to cramps. And so we really have to watch you have to have a focus on the individual player to get him better, and you have to have a really good view of the overall big picture to see who might can help you by midseason before you send them to the scout team.
Mack, a big picture question along that same line. When you're looking at this team, regardless of who leaves, regardless of who's back, has this program got to the point where the expectations are pretty much the same year in and year out?
I think so, Chuck. I know they are with me. You know, when I got here, I thought winning 10 was pretty cool, and nobody else seemed to believe me. And then I thought when we were 11-2 and everybody was griping, I said, okay, I'm missing something now. I checked everybody at 111. There aren't that many of us. And Greg Robinson's the one that told me when he came in 04 that, you know, you're griping at fans sometime and all they want's what you want. You're mad when we win 11 and we lose 2. That's all they are. So really, you're just like the fans. why don't you admit it and expect to win all the games? And I thought in 08, when we weren't expected by the public to win all the games, and our players and coaches still expected to, I thought that was a big step for our program, that we should have a chance every year, and we should think we've got a chance every year to step up and win the games, and that's the way I feel now. I do feel like we have a chance this year. With all the question marks we have, we still have a chance to win all the games if we will do a great job coaching, and the chemistry and the morale of the team and the discipline. I'm really proud that our kids have acted good this summer and they've stayed out of trouble, and this team so far seems to be doing all the things that we've asked them to do. So all those things matter. And in my meeting at 6:15, I will tell them that. I will tell them, thank you that I haven't read any negative things about any of you all summer. Thank you. And then I'm going to say, I've looked at every one of your grades and your class attendance, and I'm going to have all the guys that are doing real well stand up, and I'm going to say the rest of you need to look at those, and you need to be doing what they're doing. And then I'm going to say that we're going to find out who's in great shape in the morning. And if you're not in great shape, you're not acting right, you're not doing well in school, then you're probably not going to play. But it's easier for us to coach them now because we have enough players that they have to do what they're supposed to do or they lose playing time.
You guys can't watch the players this summer, but can you talk about what you heard about maybe players, Tyrell Higgins, some of the properties?
When we went to Big 12 Media Day, there were 4 guys there, and John and Bill and Jeremy and Thomas, and I ate dinner with them. And it's interesting because they want to talk. They haven't seen you in a while, and so you try to get them to just tell you things. I mean, it's just who do you like, who do you not like, because the players know. They're around them every minute of every day. And Sam Acho, who is a very bright young man, is a very nice young man, took Tyrell Higgins to Africa with him for 2 weeks to be on their mission. And that was impressive to me, that anybody'd go to Africa as hot as it is for 2 weeks. And he missed some school, he missed some workouts, but that's something that I thought for Sam to trust him and want him to be in that group means that Tyrell must be buying in better, and he does look better. I saw him in the hall today, and I think he's 284 pounds or something. So because he got sick some last year and he had some stomach problems and was down in the 260s or 270s, and so he is definitely a guy to keep your eye on because there's a need at that position. I'm excited about seeing those 3 freshman defensive tackles. I've never seen them on the field. So it'll be fun to watch some of those. Tomorrow morning, you pretty much know what you're going to see because it's the older guys, and you just want to see retention and attitude and conditioning, and you want your team to look good. You do not want real heavy guys and they look sloppy. And tomorrow night will be fun. It'll be a lot of fun to see all those guys out there for the first time.
Mack, how much do you anticipate Sam playing inside, and how much depends on these 3 freshmen?
We would rather not have Sam playing inside on rundowns against teams like Alabama and Ohio State because he's 265, 270 pounds and could get beaten down if you do. He can do it some plays. You can move him. He's really quick. But if he has to do it for a season, he gets tired and gets beaten down. We have packages now where we can play 4 defensive ends a lot. So in those cases, he could move inside because he can take on the run as well as he's a tremendous pass rusher.
Take 2 more questions. Or like Alabama or Ohio State that you're going to play?
Well, you have to think that you're going to get the running game, physical type running game, not option against UCLA, because Rick's always been an eye downhill and run team. You're definitely going to get it the next week against Oklahoma. You'll definitely get it the next week against Nebraska. You'll get it at Kansas State. So Oklahoma State has gone more like Texas Tech now, so you wouldn't expect it. It'll be more of a pass type game. A&M's running the ball well and a lot. So I think it's more than we would think. You know, you aren't sure what you'll get with Robert Griffin now in their offense with him well. It was a lot of option last year and quarterback draw. So, but I think that more than in our past said, we're probably seeing half the teams that have the ability to line up and run it if we can't stop it.